Hey my loves! So last year I shared a video of iced tea, 5 delicious ways, and you guys really seemed to enjoy it. So I thought it was time to bring you 5 brand new ways to get your iced tea on. Today's flavor combinations are really flavorful and more importantly, really refreshing for hot summer days. Today we are going to kick things off with a yummy strawberry peppermint iced tea. Now, I love this combination because of course that peppermint is so refreshing on a hot summer day and strawberries always make everything better. To set myself up, I've got a heat-proof glass measuring cup like this. Any sort of heat-proof glass will do. It's really important, of course, that you use heat-proof here because we're going to be pouring boiling water into this dish. I'm also using a metal sieve like this. This is an optional step, but it really helps you when it comes time to remove all of the things that you've added to your water. For my peppermint tea, in this case, I'm using some tea bags, but of course, if you have loose leaf peppermint tea, that is always better. To amp up that peppermint flavor even more, I'm also going to add some fresh mint leaves to this. Basically, I'm just gonna rip them up like so, pop them right in there, and then over goes our water. Once you've added your water, you can just let this steep away for between 3 and 5 minutes until all of those lovely flavors have transferred. And then you can simply remove the sieve from the top and set it aside. Now, while that water is still hot, we really want to dissolve our sweetener. You have a ton of great options here. You could use some white sugar, you could use some honey, but in this case, I'm actually using some agave, and then give it a good stir until it is completely dissolved. Now, this is the part of the process when patience becomes a virtue. You're going to have to let this sit for at least 30 minutes or until it's cooled completely, and then we will finish it off by adding all of our beautiful strawberry flavor. Once my tea is chilled completely, I am going to add about 2 cups of sliced strawberries. The longer you let this all sit and infuse with that strawberry flavor, the more delicious it becomes. So go ahead, pop the pitcher in the fridge, and feel free to leave it in there overnight. It's only going to get better. Now that, my friends, is refreshment. For my next iced tea, I'm actually using a really tasty white tea. If you're not familiar with white tea, it's really delicious and packed with antioxidants, so a great option if you've never tried it. I'm going to get started by steeping my tea in some hot water. Now that my tea is steeped, I am going to pop it to the side. And in this case, just to switch things up, I'm going to be using some white sugar, but obviously totally your call. Agave would be beautiful here, so with some honey. I'm going to allow that to cool completely, and then it's time to add our nice tart cranberry flavors. Because I want to maintain that really pretty white tea color, I'm actually using white cranberry juice in this. You could definitely use traditional cranberry juice, and what you'll end up with is a really pretty and pink drink. I'm also going to add a few good handfuls of cranberries for a little more color and a little more tartness. You're going to want to let this chill out for 30 minutes to an hour in the refrigerator to let all those flavors come together. And there you have it, sweet and sour summer sipping at its finest. And next, for something a little more sophisticated, we are making a lavender Earl Grey iced tea. Now, I have to tell you, I cannot even hear the words Earl Grey without thinking of Captain Picard from Star Trek, but I digress. We are starting with some steeped Earl Grey tea. I love Earl Grey tea. It's got such a unique flavor, and I think it is really beautifully complemented with some lavender. And I should warn you, a little lavender actually goes a long way, so you don't want to overdo it. A teaspoon or so is usually adequate with about 8 cups of water. We're gonna let that steep for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how strong you like your tea. And then we're just going to remove our tea bags and our lavender and stir in our sweetener. In this case, I'm using honey. I find black tea really needs the additional sweetness. Once your sweetener is completely dissolved in your tea, you can set it aside and let it cool before pouring it over a beautiful glass of ice and enjoying it. Next up, we have a delicious peachy green tea. Of course, this starts by brewing some green tea. Once our green tea is adequately steeped, we are just going to set it aside, of course. And then we are going to add our sweetener. Now, I love honey in green tea, but this is definitely one of those recipes, if you wanted to keep it unsweetened, you actually could. As long as you don't oversteep your green tea, because that makes it bitter. Once your tea is sweetened, you simply want to set it aside and let it cool before adding it to the rest of your ingredients. Of course, for our peachy green tea, we need to add some peaches. I've got some gorgeous fresh peaches that I just chopped up, and I'm going to give this all a stir. Go ahead and let that sit for 30 minutes to an hour, or overnight is ideal. Once that's had some time to reach its maximum flavor potential, you can simply pour it over ice and you are ready to refresh. Finally, we're taking a really classic hot tea recipe and making it into an iced tea. This is a lemon ginger iced tea, so it's actually really good if you happen to fall ill with a summer cold. For this recipe, I'm actually using some herbal ginger tea, but if you wanted to, you could swap in some green tea. That would work just as well. I'm also going to be steeping that tea with some freshly chopped ginger, as well as a few pieces of lemon zest. We're gonna let this steep away for between 3 and 5 minutes, and then we're going to strain our water and stir in our honey. Once that's cooled completely, you can stir in some fresh lemon slices, and it is ready to be poured over ice. For more awesome iced tea inspiration, be sure to check out the links in the description box below. Keep in mind the recipes are there as well. If you give any of these tasty ideas a try, I really hope you will tweet me, Instagram me, or Snapchat me a photo, because of course I love seeing your creations. And if there are any great iced tea flavors I haven't thought of, be sure to leave those in the comment section below, because I will be making iced tea all summer long, I promise you that. Finally, if you have not already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more refreshing deliciousness where this came from.